So what is Hiranya, Avantika?
He means movement that's distracting or attracting your senses, and Ranya means sound that's attracting your senses. So Hiranya means something that's glittering that's attracting your senses.
Something that is glittering to the sense that attracts it. Yeah. But what is Hiranyaksha, Ridhima?
Like Aksha is like your like eyes and like your senses.
Yeah.
So like Hiranya Aksha would mean like when the thing that's like something that's glittering, it distracts you and it like pulls all your senses into the water.
Yeah, excellent. What are waters here?
The water is like what is stopping you from like reaching what you can reach.
Yeah, but what are waters represent here? Vishayas are all the sense objects, sensory world. The sensory world are Vishayas, right? Okay, so in this avatara, in Varaha avatara, okay, let us say we discovered what our true self is. But how did Varaha find out where the inner nature is submerged? How did he find out? Sir, you want to say that? Krishna, you want to say that? How did Varaha find out where the earth was?
By smelling through the water.
Smelling through the water. We didn't understand what the real meaning of smelling through is. Your smell will come there. Smell of sweet stuff.
It's not smelling in the water, smelling through would make more sense.
Yeah, smelling through the water. But we'll talk about that later. Okay? So, Sarai, what is Varaha?
Varaha is basically a great day where you finally truly understand like who you are.
Right. What your true nature is and where the true nature is hidden. Once we find out true nature, what do? Once we find out what our nature is, where it is hidden, what do? We have to cultivate it. We have to really cultivate it.
No, I thought it's surrendering to God.
Not yet, but you have to cultivate it. We'll talk about the cultivation part in the next one. But if you have any questions, now it is you asking me questions. Anybody, everybody. Krishna.
Earlier you said that there were 12 Adityas, 2 Daityas, and 41 Danavas. Well, if the Daityas are the kings are the rulers of the Asura clan, basically if just these 2 Asuras basically lead the whole Rakshasa clan and Danavas just make up the brunt force, then how are the Daityas still persisting when the 2 direct sons of Kashyapa have already been slaughtered?
Been killed, so don't use the word slaughtered. But Daitya clan continued, right? After Hiranyakashipu, even Hiranyaksha had his progeny. Hiranyakashipu had Prahlada, and Prahlada's son Virochana was there. Virochana's son Bali, and Bali. So Daitya will continue. Bana was there.
Prahlada is not the only son of Hiranyakashipu. He has many other
He
sons.
has other, yeah.
Ahlada, Hlada.
Right. So Daitya clan continues.
What about the Deva clan? How did
It will all continue. It's not like again you are trying to go back to, oh, they died, so what happens? Now nobody is left. No. Hiranyaksha is in us. As we talk today, Hiranyaksha is happily living within us. Right? You agree? Yeah? Happily living within us. We haven't slayed that fellow yet. We have to bring Varaha into us in order to slay Hiranyaksha. So that story hasn't taken place yet.
Even that, I think 100% you cannot slay.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying, there is always going to
Some
be
remnant
some,
tendencies.
yes, there
so
will
some
always
way
be
is
something.
going to return?
Yeah, it is possible that he can be resurrected.
I mean, not resurrected, but
Yes.
somehow he just the person doesn't return, but the idea is immortal.
I
Yeah.
think it's like every time it happens, like for when Hiranyaksha and Hiranyaksha comes in for us, and he tries to like distract us from what is our main path, and then we slay it. It's always like Hiranyaksha's next Janma. He turns out to be like Kumbhakarna, and then like that, right? So then Rama
He can
has
come
to
in a different form.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Rama has to come and slay him. Like that.
Wow, she made a very important point. In the next Janma, Hiranyaksha can become Kumbhakarna, and that's what happened in the story.
Exactly what
So,
I was trying to say.
And then after you slay Kumbhakarna, he can become Dantavaktra again.
Yeah.
In
and
the
then
third
Krishna
one.
can slay him.
And
Yeah.
then after Dantavaktara, back to Hiranyaksha.
Yeah. So that main big story connects to Jaya Vijaya story, right? They are getting cursed in Vaikuntha, and how they had to take 3 births. You will actually not just wonder. You will be shocked and dismayed with joy how this huge network of stories were created. Everything connects with everything seamlessly into a huge seamless universe. That's how these are created. Okay, next, Ridhima.
So like you know how they had the Adityas were 12, and then the Daityas were 2, and then the Danavas were 41. Like, are those just like random numbers, or do they like mean something?
They all mean something. They all mean something. Yeah. And that's why number game is so important. Like in the beginning, for 5 of these sessions, I only talked about numbers. What are the numbers we talked? 5, 10, 4, 11, 6, 3, right? And when we talked about Diti, how many numbers did we talk? 2. You know what is the meaning of Diti? Diti means Khandane, da Khandane. That means you split it into 2. That is Diti. Aditi means one who never splits. Diti means one who always splits into 2. So that's why she
They
has,
must be twins.
yeah. So that's why she had only 2. But anyway, everything has a beautiful underlying network. Everything is mathematically nicely connected. It will take a long time to appreciate the beauty of this, but you have to remember a lot of these words and the meanings of these words. Then everything seamlessly connects. Okay, Sanvi.
So earlier you said that every individual has Hiranyaksha inside themselves, and they need Varaha to slay it. Why is it that they have Hiranyaksha instead of Varaha? Why can't they have both, or Varaha instead?
Why can't they just have Varaha? Why start with Hiranyaksha?
Yeah.
That's our nature has problems, right? In our nature, like if you go to your backyard, if you don't make any protection of the ground for weeds, what happens? Like last year, I have so many weeds. There are so many seeds in the soil already buried. They will grow rapidly like that. So like that, these tendencies have been accumulating over several countless births. Like evolution point of view, just from an evolution point of view, we need to be alert for big sounds, right? If I'm a deer, let us say, in a forest, long time ago, several births ago, I was a deer in a forest. What should I be careful about? A roar of a lion, of a tiger, or a howl of a wolf. So those kind of things I should be very alert to. And as she said, some smells also I should be very careful about. If I smell tiger, I should run away. If I see something swiftly moving like that, then I should run away. So for evolutionary purposes, some tendencies developed in us. And as we are growing and getting into taking human births, we are acquiring other tendencies. Some of those tendencies are, if there is good smell of food, I should go towards it to eat food. I said olfactory sense is the very first sense that evolved, right? Smelling the toxins. If there are toxins, drift away. That's what single cells do. If there are toxins, they drift away. If there is food, they drift in. So That's how the primary fundamental evolution started. So in the same way, if you see gold is valuable, we go towards gold. If it is danger, then we run away. So if it is something beautiful, then we go there. That's why people look at skin tone. If skin tone is good, people go. If skin tone is bad, they don't. This is all just evolutionary. Racial biases, all these things came because of this. So there is an inner biological basis for all these tendencies. And those are the things that we have to fight if we truly want to become divine. Even if we want to become good, you have to overcome all these biases. Some biases are there through evolution, biologically placed in us. Some biases that are there psychologically placed within us through our
conditioned also.
conditioned.
in society.
We live some stereotyping people, stereotyping genders. All these things are installed by the society around us. Right? So you have to overcome. This is a necessary evil. And only if you recognize where these are, you have to find out who you are, what your true nature is, what biases you have, what automatic habits you have, what fears you have, what strengths you have, what weaknesses you have. Only then you found your earth to work upon. If you found your earth and you found out that, oh my goodness, it has so many biases, so many, all kinds of negativity in this, what do? You have to work on it. Cultivation begins. So first you have to find your bhumi, then you cultivate it. That's what Manu wanted to do. The Manu and Satarupa wanted to cultivate the bhumi. They said, where is bhumi? First of all, you have to find it. Yeah? Excellent question.
My question is, so for the avatar Matsya, isn't Manu the one who saves the Vedas? Then how is he born like for Varaha again? Like is he like created again or?
So
Manu
Matsya.
is not the one that saves the Vedas.
No, I think she meant Matsya.
Matsya
Yeah,
is the
in
one that
Matsya
saves Matsya Avatara.
Yeah, in Matsya Avataram, isn't Manu the one who has to not save the Vedas but take all the people to another?
There were multiple different
Manus.
Manus. There were 14 Manus. Until now, 7 Manus have passed. We'll come to the concept of Manu later. When I come to Matsya Avatara, we'll talk about that.
Remember
But that's
the
a very good question. But the thing is that because we are trying to understand deeply into everything, all your questions will not be addressed until several, maybe even years later. But when you get to that level, you will start making connections. You will understand a lot of things all by yourself. Like the adults in my classes, after 3-4 years, they can connect everything. They will see meaning in everything. In everywhere in the world, they can see meanings. And you will be no less than them. It takes a few years. Krishna.
So, in several cases, in the Asura clan, we keep on seeing some new figure coming up. First, it's Hiranyakashipu, who is the leader of the Asuras, or the Asura king, the most dangerous one. And then we have Bali, and then we have Ravana, and then some other person, and it keeps going that way. But when it comes to the Devas, there is always an Indra, always an Agni, always a Vayu, and always the same 12 people. They are unchanging. So,
That's a good question.
what does this represent? And who is the
Anybody
eldest?
has answer? She has answer.
Yeah, so when they get the nectar of immortality, they don't give it to the Asuras. Only the Devas take it. So I think that's why they just keep staying because they're immortal.
Oh, no. Actually, Asuras have Sanjeevani before Devas got nectar of immortality, Amrita. The very reason why they wanted Amrita is that they don't have an ability to deal with the Sanjeevani that they have. So we'll come to that story later. But to answer your question, I already answered this in the story of Mali, Sumali, Malyavan. Anybody remember that? What was the boon that Parvati gave to one of the ancestors of Mali, Sumali? Yeah?
That the minute they are born, they will grow up to be as old as their mother.
Their mother. And they don't have to, there is no gestation.
You say, I want a baby. The baby
Yes,
is
baby is there. So the asura tendencies are born instantaneously and they grow instantaneously. And not only that, as I said, asuras have this power called sanjeevani. Means you give a little bit of rest, they'll be back.
They'll be back.
Kami, I think the question Krishna asked is the names of the asuras keep changing, right? It's not the same asura coming back again. But whereas the devas, Indra stays Indra. I know they're all padavis, they're not really names of people.
But they're generally more longer lasting.
Yeah, long lasting, which is okay, that's because of Amrita. But why are the names of the asuras changing and why are names of the devas staying alive? I mean, staying the same? Maybe that's
Is
what
that the
is
question?
Yes.
Okay. So the asuras, they come always in disguise. There is always a drift. But devas are pretty straightforward. So there is one and only one thing. You don't circumvent things. But asuras, one of the tendencies of asura is to be cunning, is to come in disguise, is always come and attack you when you are not alert. That is the nature of asura.
I think they also come in different forms. And the truth is always one. It's always one. It's always the dharma, following the path of dharma. I think that's that might be the representation.
So because if you follow dharma or daivi path, you don't have a lot of variations.
Yeah,
Very
it's just
simple,
that one
straightforward, one thing. But asura, it can come in countless forms and ways.
I think that's why all of them have different names.
But rakshasas are different, right? And asuras represent one thing. All rakshasas, daityas, danavas, everybody together can be called asuras.
Rakshasas are different from Danavas?
Yeah, they are different from danavas. Daityas are different from danavas.
Then what is, okay, if there are so many individual clans within the larger group of asuras,
Let's
then,
call them beings.
okay, different species of beings for
Okay.
scientific decoding.
Pseudoscientific.
Yeah. So, what is the special qualities of each group or species?
That makes them different, right?
Yeah.
As I said, Diti is dividing, right? And I haven't given the definition of Danava yet. But Rakshasas, did I give a definition?
No.
Okay. How much time do we have?
10 more minutes.
Okay.
30
So I'll tell a story about Rakshasas. I think I might have given this story. Okay. So when first Lord Brahma began creation, the very first thing he created was darkness. Because he thought that the shadow is faithfully following him. He thought that, okay, out of my shadow, I should create something that is faithful and follows me. Whatever I tell, it will follow me. And out of shadow, he created 5 kinds of darknesses. Let's forget about all these, what those 5 kinds are, but darkness. Darkness means ignorance. Okay? And because once this darkness was created, this darkness is filled with thirst and hunger. So beings came out of it. Lots of beings came out of it. They are suffering from thirst and hunger. And they looked at Brahma and said, I want to eat this fellow. They ran towards Brahma. They want to eat him. And a group of these beings said, eat him, eat him. They said, Jakshata, Jakshata. And the other being said, Marakshata, Marakshata, don't protect him. So both want to eat, but one said just eat, the other one said don't protect, don't save him at all, just eat him up. Then Brahma said, hey, I am like your dad, I am like your father. So as a children, you should protect me, should not eat me. So he said, Ma Jakshata, Rakshata, protect me, don't eat me. But of course, after that, Lord left that body and took another body and started creation. Anyway, these beings that are tormented by hunger and thirst eternally, some beings always wanted to eat. They became yakshas. And those beings that do not want to protect became rakshasas. Rakshasa means one who ends protection. One who ends protection. So what does this mean? Ignorance means we don't have knowledge. We do things meaninglessly all the life. So what do we do? Meaningless activities. There are so many activities that we do. But all activities do what? Consume time, energy, all resources that we have, right? Any activity that you do will consume your time. It will consume your energy. It will consume any other resources that you have. But some of them might protect you, but some will not protect, will not offer any protection whatsoever. So those activities that we do that consume all the resources but do not offer any protection whatsoever are Rakshasas. And those that consume our resources and might help in the future are Yakshas. So Rakshasas are a completely different kind of beings within us. And Daityas are dualities, break everything into two. Me and not mine. Me, my bank account. Me, my house. Me, my job. Like that, everything that breaks is Ditis. And Danavas are different things. We'll come to that later. When we talk about Kshirasagara Madhanam, I'll give all the meanings of these words. But remember Rakshasas, when we are doing useless activity that does not protect us in any way, just consume all our time, effort, money, resources, everything, they are Rakshasas.
But if yakshas are eternal hunger, constantly just eating and consuming, then why are they generally considered to be amongst the good people or allies of the devatas?
For example, you wake up every morning and then every morning you do some kind of puja, whether you're paying attention or not, or some people will at least pretend, sit in front of the Lord and pretend to do something. There's some activity that they are doing. The activity is not a total waste. It is consuming time, resources. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. So some of these activities are like yakshas. They are rendering at least some protective effect. They are consuming resources, but at least rendering some protective effort. But Rakshasas are the ones that do not protect at all. All the protection mechanisms are defeated and taken down.
Kubera is considered a yaksha, right?
He is the king of yakshas. Yeah.
Why is he a yaksha? Why is he considered?
He is not a born yaksha. He is ruler of yakshas. He is Vaishravana.
Because he like all yakshas, he is a lot of wealth, except wealth not in like just continuous greed and gold, like right types of hunger, like for instance being constantly hungry for improvement,
Good answer.
achievements, and to help society and to earn knowledge instead of
Good
food.
answer. Good answer. So we also saw some interesting naming mechanisms, naming nomenclature, what we call, right? We called Rama Dasharadhi, after the father's name, right? And we call Adityas after their mother's name, Aditi. We call Daityas and Danavas after their mother's name, right? So it's a difference in nomenclature. But when you look at Ravana, you will not hear him being called as Vaishravana. Vaishravana is reserved for Kubera only. So when you say Mantra Pushpam, what is the mantram you say? Anybody know Mantra Pushpam? So, yeah. So, Same Kamang Kamaya Kameshwaro Vai Ishravano Dadatu Kuberaya Vaishravanaya Maharajaya Namaha Rajadhirajaya Prasahya Sahine Namo Vayam Vai Ishravano Dadatu. 3 times they say Shravana, Vaishravana. Kubera. They never ever call Ravana as Vaishravana. Ravana is also Vishravasa's son. But sometimes you call him Paulastya, after grandfather. Because he belonged to Pulasya's clan, you call him Paulastya. So like that, the nomenclature is very important. Again, I think those people who read Mahabharata, who are Kauravas? Anybody know who are Kauravas? I'm always looking at you because you know all books.
Descendants of Kuru.
Yeah.
Huh?
In simplest words, descendants of Kuru.
Kuru.
But who are they? How do they? That's true.
they don't have their mother's name or their father's name. They're 100 sons of Dasharatha.
But who are Kauravas, starting from the first name in Mahabharata?
Kuru
No,
Maharaj.
No, that's okay. Who are
Nice.
Kauravas? When you simply say Mahabharata, who are
Even
Kauravas?
Pandavas or Kauravas?
Even
actually.
Pandavas are Kauravas. But why do you call them Pandavas? Pandu's sons. But when you call them Pandavas, then you should always call them Dhartarashtras. Of course, they are called Dhartarashtras too, but you call them Kauravas. Occasionally, or more often, you call Duryodhana, Dusyasana, that 100 people, you call them Kauravas. But these 5 people, Yudhishthira, Bhima, etc., you call them Pandavas. Why do you distinguish? All are Kauravas. You said Kuru's descendants, right? Why do you distinguish?
Maybe because Kauravas, they come from the mainstream of the Kaurava dynasty's bad tendencies, and then the Pandavas are a unique subset who embrace some other good qualities, eventually breaking away.
True. So when you break the word, you have to look carefully at the context, right? Pandavas are specifically called Pandu's children because Panda means knowledge, jnana. Pandita. What does Pandita mean? One who is very knowledgeable. So the root word is Panda. Panda means jnana. In North India, I think they call them Pandas, right? So Panda means jnana. Jnana related tendencies are Pandavas. Kuru is action. Kuru means do this, do that, do. So the action related tendencies are these Kauravas. So whenever they are talking about action related tendencies, they are Kauravas. Whenever you are talking about jnana related tendencies, they are Pandavas. And another meaning for Kaurava, we can break it in a different way. Ku means bad. Kumati. What does Kumati mean? Bad mind, bad intellect. Rava means sounds, noises. Bad noises. People who make bad noises, talk bad things, they are Kaurava.
Yeah, like
Kauravas. So in that way also they are Kauravas. There is a distinction required.
But Duryodhana was born bad omens.
Yeah, with all bad omens. Yeah. And why did he get the name? His original name was Suyodhana.
Yes.
Yodhana means fighting. Yodhana means one who fights. Suyodhana means one who fights really well.
Good fighter.
Good fighter. But they named him Duryodhana. Why everybody calls him Duryodhana? Why? One who is tough to fight with. What is that within us? Ego. Egotism is one thing very tough to fight with. The more you fight, the more strength it gains. More cunning it gets. More dangerous it becomes. So, anyway, I wanted to emphasize again, the way of understanding whatever Rishi says is like this. Because it will really help us understand ourselves. If we are trying to understand somebody else, like Devdutt Patnaik or somebody, they kind of bring all kinds of stuff. I don't know what it communicates. The meaning is lost. The real meaning, why these texts survived so many years, millennia, is because they are encapsulated forms of deep knowledge about ourselves. The humanity doesn't change, human psychology doesn't change. When you understand Hiranyaksha within you, you were able to capture Hiranyaksha within you, you will reach a next level. Immediately you will go to the next level.
If I can just summarize one thing, kiddos, you're all so smart, talented, intelligent, and trying to walk in the right path. Don't get distracted by any writer and everyone, anybody and everybody. So always go to the source, right? But sometimes Ramayana is written in Sanskrit. You need to learn a lot to even understand Ramayana. So when you cannot decode the source, go to the right guru. That's extremely important, to go to the right guru to get the actual meaning of the source that can actually translate the source for you. Do not get distracted with anything and everything that other people or so-called writers or so-called teachers say. Okay, use your mind to assess what is right and what's wrong. Hence, we have parents in this class to again help the kids walk in the right path. That's a very, very important point. So I felt like I had to summarize that.
Om Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.